It's okay. I can't. All I've got is your face. We're good. So
well, okay.
shoulder level. That's
Okay.
what.
I was afraid it would wiggle at the table.
I've got Lacey Buchanan here. She is running for Cannon County Commission in the 5th District. And when Lacey first got involved in the political running, she was going to run for what, clerk?
I was going to run for the circuit court clerk.
What changed your mind?
The biggest factor that changed my mind was just trying to decide if I wanted to do that as a full-time position or the commission as a part-time position. So I still have small kids, and I chose to delegate more of my time for them still, just the place I am in life. And so the commission is less hours of responsibility. And so while the circuit court clerk position was one that I think I would have enjoyed, just because of the legal aspects, and I'm an attorney, and that's just what I love and what I do. Just where I am in life, I wanted to, for now, choose the time with my children.
Gotcha. And speaking of your children, and for those of you that don't know Lacey Buchanan, a few years ago you gave birth to son, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed your world, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Christian is 7 now.
Oh, is he 7? Okay.
He's 7, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, he's growing up. He has special needs. He was born with a lot of medical complexities, I call it, and so he has a vision impairment. He's blind. He's had to have some plastic surgeries. He's very well known in Woodbury. A lot of people know him that don't know me. So when I say I'm Christian's mom, then they're like, oh yeah, now I know who you are. But he, raising him has changed my life. It's changed my perspective on life and about what's important, and goes back to my decision to run for the commission rather than the circuit court clerk. Him and I have a younger son, Chandler. They are the most important things in my life, and I want to be the best mom that I can for them. And so it's a balancing act, and so this is how I felt I could balance the best.
And I think one of the things that will help you in the commission, if you do get the commission spot, is you're thick-skinned. You've been through the ringer, especially with criticism and things on that nature.
Yes.
I've watched Christian grow up through you and some of the posts, and I think there was a book. Was there a book written?
Yes, I wrote a book. Yeah, it's called Through the Eyes of Hope, and it's a memoir about my life. I joke, I'm 31 years old, and I joke that I've already had enough happen in my life to write a memoir about it. So that was a fun experience, and it's just really cool to see our faces on a book when you walk into a bookstore and stuff. So that was a really interesting time, and everybody asks if I'm going to keep writing books, and I don't think I am, at least not for now, because I'm focusing on the commission and on my legal career and on my children and stuff like that. So it was fun, but I don't think I'm going to keep writing for now.
Well, that book and your story is motivation and inspiration for a lot of people. So, just in that one book alone, you've got enough there.
We hope so.
Tell us a little bit about Lacey Buchanan. What made, what was the decision, other than just, devoting time to the family? Mm-hmm. Why was the decision to run for commission? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, well, so I have lived in Cannon County for most of my life. There was a 7-year period in my childhood from age 3 to 10 where my family moved to Rutherford County, to Smyrna, when my dad worked at Nissan. We moved back to Woodbury when I was 10, and we have lived here ever since. When I got married, my husband and I chose to move right down the road here in town, and we decided to raise our family here, and those were all intentional because we love this community, and this is the type of atmosphere that we wanted to raise our kids in, and just sort of the smaller town, slower paced life. And as Murfreesboro grew, we thought about moving to Murfreesboro at one point, but as Murfreesboro grew, we realized that was not for us. And so running for the commission position, it kind of came up at a good time. So I graduated law school in 2016 and wrote the book in 2016, and I traveled all of 2017 promoting the book. So at the end of the year, last year, traveling for the book was over, the promotion was over, and 2018 came, and everybody started, deciding what they were going to do as far as this campaign goes. And I decided to throw my hat in as this is a good time, this is a good place to put my foot in the door. And our county has some struggles right now, some things that we're going through, and that's not a secret. And I thought with my background in public administration and my legal background, I thought I have some things I can add, some help hopefully that I can provide, and I love this community and I want what's best for it. And so the commission spot just seemed like a great place to step in, where, like I said, that balancing act, I could still be with my kids, I can still be there for them, and still do something and be a part of the county and be involved in a way that's not taking 60, 70 hours a week of my time, which is why I haven't went to a firm to work as an attorney, because they want 60 to 70 hours per week of your time, and I'm not willing to take those hours from my kids to give to a firm right now.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And you're doing well for yourself, I'm sure. Outside, when you're going through being a lawyer, you're trying to work into Cannon County a program, court appointed. I'm trying to think of CASA, basically
CASA,
is what I'm
yes.
trying to say, and working with the Child Advocacy Center, and and the Cannon County SAVE programs, and some of these programs that deal with domestic violence, some of these programs that deal with children, and trying to look out for not only your children but the best interests of other children as well.
Right, yeah. So CASA is court-appointed special advocates, and it is a nationwide program, and it's in many of the counties in Tennessee. I want to say about 45 counties in Tennessee, but that may not be exactly right. And Cannon County didn't have it, and so I started about a year ago with the help of a really wonderful board, bringing it to Cannon County, and we're hopeful that it will be started actually next month. And what they do is they train volunteers who go into court with children who are dependents of abuse and neglect, and they advocate for their best interest. They do home visits for these children. They are, these volunteers that we would be training are somebody who is a consistent, safe adult in this child's life when they're going through maybe one of the hardest times in their life, when they're being taken out of their homes, when they're being put in foster care, when they're having to go in front of a judge, which can be so intimidating for an adult, let alone a small child. And so I felt it was really important to have this wonderful program here, and so that's something that I've been working on for the last year, and we are very close to having it up and running.
It is. It'll be an effective program here,
Yes.
because you have so many children that are coming through the system, whether it be because their parents are on drugs, abuse, whatever.
Right.
And I
Cannon County
think
has
that's
the
a
need.
big gap that you're helping to
Yeah.
fill there. What are some of the strengths that you see in Cannon County right now? Maybe in the government or just in the county itself. I know you talked about being a small community.
Yeah, I think having a small community is a benefit in a lot of ways. I know that there are times when there's a joke, everybody knows your business before you do, which can, that can be difficult. But I think having a small community is a benefit, because we look out for one another. We really do. And the good old days just happened on the square, and the community came together and had such a good time. And, everybody sort of sets their differences aside for a while to enjoy it. And so yesterday there was an elderly lady walking down Main Street, and I stopped to see if she needed a ride, because it's 700 degrees outside right now, and she said no, she was just walking for exercise, and so I drove off, and before I could even pull away from her, another car had pulled up to offer her a ride, and I said, bless her heart, she can't even walk for exercise without being offered rides, because Cannon County looks out for its own. We really do. People, they aren't afraid to ask if you need help. When Christian was a baby and we were facing a lot of medical bills and a lot of time off work for me to take care of him, the county rallied together and put together a huge fundraiser for us that got us through that time. And that is the Cannon County that I know and love. And there are so many good people here that just want to do what's best for the county, and I think that's a huge strength that you're not going to get in a bigger place where there's just more autonomy and you don't know your neighbor.
What are some of the weaknesses that you see in county government or in just the county by itself?
I think the weakness that we have right now, the one that's facing, the county, the biggest thing that's just sort of like the elephant in the room, is the financial situation, the financial crisis, if you will. I sort of dug into it, and I'm not exactly sure. I can't speak to exactly a pinpoint place where this crisis is coming from, but I know that we can do better. And I know that it's just going to take some time and some resources and some people who are willing to do the hard work to make it better. I know that we, as a small county, don't have the resources that Rutherford County does, but that it's manageable, it's doable, and we can get that back on track.
And I like some of the way that some candidates have, voiced their opinion about, taking a look, and not only some candidates, but some people on the commission even, have voiced their opinions about taking a look at, Rutherford County or Bedford County or, Putnam County, for example. They've been successful. And, we're talking about just overall government's been successful in how they're handling their finances, how they handle their budgets and stuff. And sure, Cannon County doesn't, not even close, the difference between night and day as far as services and the way that things are run. But at the same time, you can get some really good ideas. And I mean, you're seeing it right now in partnerships with the education here in Cannon County. You're going to start seeing partnerships, and we'll start seeing it now with the high school. And they're partnering with MTSU. They partnered with Motla. They partnered with Tennessee Tech. Why? Because those colleges are successful. They get those kids and they teach those kids how to live life.
Right.
And I think that, one of the things that, and I've heard some candidates talk about it, that touch on it. Yeah, maybe we're not the size of a Cannon or a Rutherford or a Bedford, but we can get some ideas. But years before it wasn't that way. It was like we're not Rutherford County, and we'll never be. We don't need anything from them.
Yeah, we don't want to be Rutherford County.
No, you don't want to be Rutherford County, but you can gain some ideas from Rutherford to help you succeed.
Customize them for our county and what we need. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. 5th District coming up. What area? That's in the town of Woodbury.
That is,
right?
The easiest way to explain it is sort of city limits. That's not scientific, but it's basically if you're inside the city limits, you're probably voting in the 5th District.
Interesting. You've got some issues. A lot of people in the county don't understand the difference. That there's a difference between Woodbury and Cannon County.
Right.
They think it's all the same, and in one way it is.
It is.
The town of Woodbury lives in Cannon County.
Right.
So they pay Cannon County taxes.
Right.
Just as much as Cannon County residents do.
Right.
And I think there should be some more education about that, about that aspect, because the town of Woodbury also pays city taxes too.
Right.
So they're paying a little bit more,
right.
Than what the Cannon County residents are, and you just hear a lot of stuff out there that's just, hate-filled about, well, Woodbury should be doing this. No, actually they shouldn't be, because they're paying more.
Right.
Yeah. And here's your wake-up call: move to Woodbury and find out. Basically, up your roots from outside the county, move to Woodbury, and you're going to end up figuring it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
I had some lady it's been a few years ago. I wrote a story for the radio station, and in the story, I referred to the county executive. Now, how I normally do it, I refer to him as a county executive. But this time, for whatever reason, I said county mayor. And Mike Gannon. Harold Patrick was the Woodbury mayor back then. And next thing you know, she blasts me all over. You think that since you've worked at the radio station for so many years, that you would know who your county mayor is? It's Harold Patrick. I'm like, no, that's the city mayor. Of course, obviously, whoever this was, after I said that, got the record straight. Boom, they were gone, and
Right.
done. But that's a big issue.
Yeah.
Especially when it's coming to solid waste.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And what are some of the other issues that you've heard, or that you think that you'll have to be counted on to take part in, as far as determining
Right.
for the county?
Well, you just mentioned the solid waste. That is something that I definitely want to tackle once I get in there and just see what our options are. I know that there's a really large grant that we have the option to take right now we as in the county,
Right.
have the option to take that could really help things. And there is also a company coming in, or they're interested in coming into the county, and that could also be a potential solution. And so I don't know exactly what the answer is yet for the dump, but I've been studying it and I've been looking at what's out there and looking at the available options, and I want to get that figured out along with the work of the other commissioners. I can decide whatever I want, but I've got to work alongside all these other people as well. And so I want to get that figured out so that on to the next thing I want to address, so that our citizens of this county can feel confident in their elected leaders and trust them. I feel like as a citizen of this county, we deserve to be able to trust those that we've put in a position of power, and I think that that's not there right now. And I think that that the leaders of this, the city and the county, we are held to like a higher standard of ethics, of morals, and transparency. And I think all of those are really important when you're in that position of leadership. And I think that citizens deserve that. And so that's something that I want to be really, just really upfront about, and really not a lot of wiggle room on that, is transparency and honesty and integrity, and just making sure that the citizens, not that I'm just saying it, but that the citizens actually are getting that.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that, I'm just trying to figure out where it came from. How in the world did you come up with these theories and conspiracies? And, just the other day I did a story on one candidate and, just how wrong that person was. It seems, though, that you've got a group that just gravitate to that negativity, so to speak. And you talk about distrust, and they distrust, but when the truth comes out, that group just says, you know what, we believed this way for so long, we're not going to go back to that way because we distrust it. And that's one thing that I think has to change, is definitely the transparency of county government. I've offered to help 2 of the 3 candidates that are, and I think that will work well together. 2 of the 3 candidates are running for county executive, to put the financial records out in front of the public so they can see, hey, this is where your money's going. Don't be afraid. It's not necessarily that there's a lot of government wasteful spending.
Right.
It's that it's going for salaries, going for medical, going for this, for the sheriff's department, going for that, for the ambulance department, trying to improve our status as a county to help you in times of emergency, in times of need.
Right.
So.
Right. And I think that there's a lot of, I think there's a thought process that the money is being mishandled and misused, and I can't say whether it is or not, but I think if we can be transparent, then citizens can know without just having to take somebody's word for it. And I think they deserve that. I think they deserve that black and white on paper. Here's where your money is going. Here's where your tax dollars are going to give you these services, because that's what it's all about.
Right.
When we pay these taxes, it's to run the government for our benefit.
Right.
And we're working for the citizens, and I think transparency is the only way to go.
I think your law background will definitely be a big factor in helping.
I think it's an asset.
So.
I think it's an asset, yeah.
Because anything that comes across that table, if you've got somebody that sits out there and comes off with one of these whack conspiracies or something like that, you can say, hey, hold up, this is what the law states.
Right.
And we've got to go by the law,
Right.
And I think that'll be of help to you.
That's one thing I hope to bring to the table, is my knowledge of law, and I think that's an asset that would benefit our commission.
Anything else that you'd like to add?
I think we covered most
everything.
Of it. Yeah,
All
I
right.
appreciate
Good
it.
deal. Well, I appreciate the time for the interview. We'll put this up on the internet, and I'll get the links to you and everything. That way you can share it with people. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Coming up in August.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, Lacey Buchanan for Canning County Commission, District Number 5.